It's been a long week. What better way to cap off, apparently, Deltarune and Nintendo Direct week with some great Ace Attorney 2. Let me tell y'all, I'm very happy with the decision to be a little looser with the spoilers for this game, at least. Because if you're watching this video, stream, and or VOD, I assume that you've watched every other part, and I am no longer going to be apologetic about, you know, look, Asogi, he's back. He's here. He has 2 swords. I will meme, gosh dang it. I will meme. He may be on the other side of us in court, but he's still our friend, and I know he's in there somewhere. If I remember, since last time, we had a trial that actually addressed not only the events of the Red-Headed League, but the whereabouts of Daily Vigil, surprisingly enough. Turns out he's been working with Tobias Gregson, not just now, but for a while, helping him solve cases as sort of his second pair of eyes, second brain. Explaining how he's able to be basically one of the best inspectors in all of Scotland Yard. He's acting as 2 people, or he was. Rest in peace, Toby. Rest in peace, Tobias. May he eat fish and chips up in the big concession stand in the sky. We will find your killer, and we will avenge you. Hopefully. Maybe. Of all the things, that was one that we could not figure out. We just know that Daly himself, he used to be a warder at the prison, and he's been suppressing his memories of the events for so long, for some reason. And hopefully we figure out something about it today. Because we're returning back to investigation. We are. Join me on this quest. Join me on this quest to remember my suppressed memories about how this game works. Welcome back. Again, sorry that I'm only playing it once per week these days, but I'm very busy, and Toby Fox keeps releasing games. Let's load it up. Where are we? I believe we're here. Investigation Part 2. Okay, good. Let me know how the volume is, because I've been having to readjust it with all the games I'm playing. I think it should be good. I also looked up some of the achievements, like the Shovel Spade one and the Iris Blackboard one. I think I've already done all the ones I can without going back, because I haven't played the first game using this cartridge. So, I won't worry about those too much. 2nd November, 3:38 p.m. Sholmes' Suite. I still can't quite believe what just happened. A week ago. Do I remember? I hope so. Maybe if I look at the history, it'll tell me? No. Oh, wait, it does! Look, it's stuff from the court. If anybody wants a repeat, let's see. Bound by invisible chains, miraculous light, playing on the edges of the truth. Cool, I know everything now. I know. I inquired with the bailiff after the court session was adjourned. A week ago, I'm sorry. And it seems Mr. Vigil was taken to the hospital to recover. Right. Look at how tall Mr. Barricade-in is. 10 years ago now. Mr. Vigil attempted to commit suicide by jumping out the window of the prison governor's office. Oh wait, this is Suzato talking, huh? But ever since then, he's completely blocked the memory of those events from his mind. He tried to do what now? Was it that bad for him? Oh God. Nobody knew his secret. Not his family. Not even the man himself, but Oh, no, it's Ryunosuke, I think? Let me just double check. Yes. Not even the man himself, but I forced it out into the open. Was it wrong of me to do that? Did I ever step the mark, I wonder? Now, hold on, let's remind everybody. Ryunosuke was trying to be careful about all this. But because Asogi is so desperate to learn about his own father's own demise, he was like wringing it out of Daily with no respect to his mental health. That was rude. I'm gonna say right now, Asogi, please, could have done that a little better. Ring out. Yes, I will not ring out a cow. Thank you, Yellow Pikachu. How you doing? Reno! Iris, what? Oh, Iris.
miles away. Anyway, I brewed a fresh pot of soothing tea for you.
So a mile? Oh,
Sorry, kilometers.
thank you. Oh, thank you. Doing fine. Thank you. I mean, thanks for telling me. Welcome, welcome. We actually just started playing through. We talked about the Nintendo Direct for a long time.
Thank you.
Thank you. And welcome on in. We're recapping the events of the last stream. Good for me, because I forgot.
You and Susie have had an extra exhausting day so far, haven't you?
Oh. Thank you, Iris. How thoughtful of you. Do you happen to know where Mr. Sholmes is? Is he out re-dyeing his hair? When we came out of the courtroom back into the defendant's antechamber, he had disappeared.
Oh, no, I don't know. He just suddenly sprang to his feet and left. All he said was, I must leave.
I wonder if he's pursuing the mystery of Inspector Gregson's death. Good somebody is, because we were supposed to be having his trial.
Well, you know what Hurley's always saying, don't you?
Never do cocaine before 9 a.m.?
There are mysteries in this world that should perhaps never be solved. For the construction of a solution comes only at the expense of the destruction of something else.
What does that mean?
He knows very well that when you open someone else's old wounds, you often open your own too.
Maybe he needs to be more careful with a knife then. Oh, jeez. Now I realize how much of these voices are similar to my Deltarune voices.
But he can't just take his own advice and leave well alone. Solving mysteries is too important to him.
That's the thing, Iris. He's okay with bleeding a little blood in order to bring justice. But only, when he has to. Origination, how you doing? Welcome on in. How was beautiful Jola tonight? Beautiful, I suppose? That's so true.
Well, that's what I like about Hurley, after all.
I suppose that's the lot of a great detective in some ways.
So then, let's have tea, and then I'll give you a hand.
Oh, do you have time, Iris?
Yes, I finished this month's manuscript at last, with barely a day to spare before the deadline.
Oh ho, the latest adventure of Sherlock Sholmes? Written in your finest Mickey Mouse hat, I suppose? Oh, I'm so looking forward to it. A brand new story to read in the adventures of Sherlock Holmes.
You know, I always hide Hurley's violin in the days before I have a deadline.
So he doesn't play it? Oh, that's mean. But probably necessary. You do? Poor Mr. Sholmes. Oh no, and now I just imagine him in his little depressive funk, wondering where it's gone. Iris, are you sure you haven't seen it?
Oh no, Sholmes, no, Hurley. Nowhere to be found. Have you checked the pawn shop? Maybe somebody tried to sell it again.
Oh, okay. I'll go check, but please may I borrow £5 just in case? Maybe it'll be even listed for 6 this time.
I'm sure that's very wise, Iris. How sensible of you.
Now then, my dear fellows, let's make a plan of action before we continue our investigation.
Send in a look like Sholmes. Alright, okay, but first, have you seen my armband, though? Iris, have you seen this?
Only every time you are able to talk to me. Your armband, the symbol of a defense lawyer of Japan. Bruno, you've shown that to me dozens of times.
Oh, have I? I don't even remember this is new dialogue. I just had to do it. Thing is, I just feel wrong if I don't have this on my arm, Or if I don't show it to everyone I meet.
No, they ask me. I think you should try wearing something different every now and then.
Oh, really? Like what?
Well, I could make something for you if you like. How about a band that squeezes your arm when the person...
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember this now. Imagine. What a silly idea. A band that allows you to detect lies. Oh, maybe we get a chance to look at this now. No? Dang. So, we got a lot of evidence from the trial. Not sure how it's gonna help me now. We ended up finding Daily Vigil, so I'm imagining anything pertaining to his disappearance is really just kinda redundant? Maybe not, we'll see. Let's go look at stuff. I'm still surprised that we took Kazuma's mask. Anything new about the chalkboard? Nope, that's old. If I remember correctly, this large and imposing lump of iron is called a typewriter. To think that every single one of the adventures of Herlock Sholmes blossomed from this very machine. It's such a dreamy thought. Susato, always in the clouds. That's why we love her. I actually had a go on it the other day. The metal bars that move when you hit the keys got all tangled up somehow, and that made Iris angry. That can't have been easy to fix. Ryunosuke, you're supposed to think when you type. The point of a QWERTY layout is to make you type slower so keyboards don't jam. Mr. Naruhodo, you're ruining my dreamy thoughts. Please don't do that again. Oh, now I've made Susato-san angry as well. Prepare to get tossed. Toss! I could read all of this again, but I'm gonna do it real quick in my head. Remember this name, the analytoscope. It was here when you left for Japan? No, it wasn't. Oh, was that right? It was with the pawnbroker, right. Giving you a wonderful idea. What's your idea? I could pawn everything that's on your desk. The office would be tiny at last. Susato, no, I need that. Don't even joke about it, Miss Susato. You are joking, aren't you? Jodan. She didn't say yes. This is Mr. Sholmes' famous violin. The one he found being sold for a song at the pawnbrokery. What's it called again? A shoddy something? Oh yes, this wonderful instrument features in the adventures of Herlock Sholmes. It's a world-famous Stradivarius. What? Stradivarius, Mr. Naruhodo. Stratego. Are you even trying now? We'll come back to this another time, I think. Yeah, he's never gonna get it. It's difficult, I know. Alright, Iris, give me the deets.
So how did it go in court this morning?
I keep forgetting that these investigations are just the same day. Well, we still don't know the truth about what really happened, but one thing's increasingly clear. Lord Van Zieks definitely didn't do it. So I should be fine, right? No matter how I do in court, I won't get, like, a guilty verdict? Ah, if only Ace Attorney worked that way.
Oh, goody!
Yes, that's right. We managed to uncover several new facts as well.
Oh, really?
As well as giving a lad PTSD. Great! And there was another development too. Kazuma Kiryu. Yes, it's quite clear now that Kazuma-sama is not himself. The way he's acting, it's almost as if he's possessed. Don't interrupt a man on a mission. I know, I mean, at the end of the proceedings earlier, he was like a bloodhound the way he was chasing down Mr. Vigil's forgotten past. He's not normally so mercilessly persistent. But now that you think about it, it's probably the reason he got into law in the first place. What's going on in his head, I wonder? I really need to sit down with Kazuma and try to understand what he's going through. I've talked about it before, but like, when I played Miles Edgeworth Investigations, I gave Edgeworth a transatlantic accent, which is not British, but it's an American accent that kind of sounds British because it is posh and non-rhotic, which means, you know, don't pronounce the R's after words. So in a way, it sounds like a bad British accent, but I try to know the difference. Like, this line from Ryunosuke, I'm going to actually read in a somewhat British accent, but with a Japanese accent because Ryunosuke is also Japanese. If Gregson really was murdered the day before his body was discovered, versus if I was doing it like Edgeworth, If Gregson was really murdered the day before his body was discovered... Notice how different that is, and not just because I'm doing a different voice entirely, but also the accent is different. You know, nobody asked, but I like talking about voice acting. Then Lord Van Zieks has to be innocent, you see.
What? The day before?
Oh yeah, Iris doesn't know anything about this.
Well, that should be easy enough to work out just by examining the corpse, surely.
Maybe? Is it still available to us? Yes, you would expect so, but curiously, no time of death was included in the autopsy report. I would like to meet with this Maria Gory person. They seem very gory indeed.
That is curious.
There are still unanswered questions about Lord Van Zieks, though, aren't there?
Ah, do you mean?
I mean, what was he doing there on Fresno Street that day in the first place? Well, now that we know he worked with Mr. Daly, then probably just trying to learn more about the Red-Headed League.
According to the man's testimony, he said he was investigating Inspector Gregson, didn't he?
And it turns out that little room was actually the inspector's secret office.
Oh, that sounds like it has all the makings of a wonderfully devilish plot.
A wonderfully devilish egg. But then why was that notice board in there covered in all those particular papers? Papers about cases with a link to the Reaper. I'm starting to get a bad feeling about all this. Oh, I can't stand to see Iris like this.
Oh dear, that sounds more like something horribly devilish. We must start by looking into Inspector Gregson's movements of late.
Oh? I will say, I hope we go talk to Barry Caden again. I haven't been practicing a Scottish accent, but I've been listening to more of it because YouTube has been recommending me more of Limmy's show clips. You know Limmy? He's a streamer now, but he's that Scottish guy from like that BBC show. Like, look at this. Water. Pure water. Now come on, take a look at this. Just goes to his house, like turns on the tap. Like, look at that. Water. It's free? Oh no, I just found it. Freaking. You cannot replicate his style of humor without, like, just being part of British culture. It's just not possible. I don't know. It's just a different world. It's like I thought I understood English, and then I started watching Limmy. Kill Jester. I never imagined I might have to be investigating an inspector's movements.
Well, according to the entry in his diary, he was carrying out an incognito investigation of the Red-Headed League the day before his death. Oh! You mean he was doing the same as Ernie?
Well, Mr. Sholmes was trying to apply, whereas the inspector was supposed to be investigating. A little bit of a difference.
I do wish it had been the other way around.
Don't wish that. It might be Sholmes that would end up dead. Anyway, as it turns out, the inspector who went to investigate the Red-Headed League that day wasn't actually Gregson at all. It was Mr. Vigil in possession of Gregson's identification.
Oh, you know what that sounds like to me? Establishing an alibi.
Oh my, yes! You're absolutely right, Iris. But why would Gregson need an alibi? Because he's UGLY? No, he's a beautiful, beautiful man.
It would appear that the inspector had something to do that he wished to keep secret. I don't believe it. I always thought he was just a harmless lover of fish and chips.
Me too. You know, you think you know a person in Ace Attorney. You think they're this one-trick pony who's just a little meme character who's gonna be with you for the rest of the series. And then he's dead. Oh! Inspector Tobias, come back to us, please. Perhaps they were seasoned with something a little more potent than salt and vinegar. Oh, the fish and chips. What? He's a seasoned veteran with salt. I mean, he got angry sometimes, but I wouldn't call him salty.
I think perhaps we should try to move away from food analogies.
Well, anyway, If Lord Van Zieks felt the need to investigate Gregson...
Yes, I agree. We must try to find out what he knows.
Mr. Vigil.
Vigil, you say? Is another name of the lady who came to visit Hurley yesterday? That's right. To ask Mr. Sholmes if he would help her to find her missing husband.
Only Mr. Sholmes completely passed the buck to us. Actually. Didn't you say that Mr. Vigil had been taken to hospital? Gee, it sure is convenient that Mr. Vigil had something to do with our case. Do you know which one? Hopefully the same one that Miss Green was in, so that the Capcom modelers don't have to draw another background.
Ah, it's St. Sinner's.
Same one. I'm starting to wonder if all the other hospitals in London have closed down.
But that's amazing, Bruno! You found the lady's husband already!
Well, I suppose I have. By accident. Don't know if he's in any mental state to come back to his family, though.
And 10 years ago, when Mr. Vigil was the chief warder at the prison, he was responsible for overseeing the professor's incarceration. No!
So when the convict escaped, he was held responsible and immediately dismissed.
Oh, sometimes I really don't want to grow up.
World's a nasty, nasty place, Iris. Stay a kid forever. There's more. For 10 years after that, while he was ostensibly working as a peddler, he also had another secret job. He was paid by Gregson to be his stand-in, to impersonate the inspector.
To impersonate Grexy? But why?
So that he could be at 2 fish and chips restaurants at the same time. They're all offering these limited time only happy hours on Tuesdays, and which means that he doesn't have enough time to move from one side of town to the other to buy as much fish and chips as he could possibly afford. So sad. I've absolutely no idea. Just imagine Gregson has a secret, like, column in the paper, like, Fish and Chips Reviews, Part 3. Oh, yes, Peter's, by the River Thames has the best fish and chips you'll ever see. Sure, the fish come from the River Thames, and they are, like, super stinky. But that's what you get. They add to the flavor with all the gunk that gets dropped into the Thames. Apparently that river is super nasty.
Ginny was right. I'm starting to think all adults are up to no good now.
It's true.
Including you, Bruno.
Well, hey, I haven't paid anyone to impersonate me. Just watch Furio Tigre, 1900s edition.
That means he has ties to the professor and to Inspector Gregson, though. So I do think we ought to pay a visit to Mr. Vigil, don't you?
Back to St. Sinners, then. Well, we got places to be, I guess. I hope I have time to catch it all.
Well, I think it's clear what we need to do, isn't it? Let us investigate, my dear fellows. Oh, Iris, you've been more enthusiastic than usual today. If anyone has anything to hide, my special Wilson shooting iron will soon set them straight.
Or unconscious. Or dead. That... What? A pistol? That... Water? Pure water? A bottle of water?
It's stuffed full of a piping hot, extra special blender mine.
Oh, we got hot sauce in there? What brand? Mrs. Renfro's?
And I'm quite sure it'll be very effective.
I'd better be careful not to hide anything. Well, it feels a little strange that Mr. Sholmes is nowhere to be seen, but still, let's go and see what we can find out.
Yes, yes!
Oh yeah, we got the dream team, baby. Iris and Susato are gonna do the actual investigating. Don't know how much help Naruhodo is gonna be. He's just, you know, here to point and yell. That's all he's really good for. So sad. No. I'm sure if Herlock Sholmes comes up and we do another deduction, Ryunosuke will show his stuff. Well yeah, let's go move. What do you guys think? Should we talk to, looks like we can't go here. It's not even gonna let me, huh? Yeah. So should we go talk to Van Zieks first, or should we go talk to Mr. Vigil? I'm curious why we're able to talk to Lord Chief Justice Strongheart, though. Let me go check that out first, actually. It takes everything in my brain to not say Vortex. Ah, yes, Cindy Vortex's great-great-great-great-great-great-grandfather. I see you're having a meeting with Mr. Roronoro Zoro. 2nd November, British Supreme Court, Lord Chief Justice's office.
No arguments, Prosecutor Asogi. You will continue with the trial exactly as I instructed. Is that clear?
Perfectly.
It's Kazuma-sama!
Defying Lord Strongheart by the sound of it. He never did know when to back down. Be careful, he's got a cane.
On your way now, Asogi.
My lord.
What's up, Kazuma? How you doing, Kaz? Wanna go get some fish and chips? I heard this perfect place. Down by the River Thames. It's a little stinky, but... No? Okay, I'll catch you later. Kazuma! Guess he's not hungry. He left without saying a word.
Yes? What are you doing here? Out with it, man!
I was just hoping to ask you a few questions, if you wouldn't mind.
I wanted Van Zieks' trial concluded today. But Prosecutor Asugi's unwelcome inquiries are going to make it longer than necessary.
Oh, and then you shouldn't have asked him to be the prosecutor for this trial. Yeah, no. This is why they're not supposed to... This is why, like, the lawyers aren't supposed to know each other in the trial. There's too much personal baggage. Unwelcome inquiries?
As a result, I'm losing even more precious time. Currently 2 hours, 55 minutes, and 41 seconds. 42, 43.
2 hours, 55 minutes, and 41 seconds until you die! Oh, Helga Pataki. Then we must resolve everything before 3 hours have passed, Mr. Naruhodo. Why are you setting a time limit? In a miraculous not even 5 minutes? Yo, Pikachu, where did you get that Kasuga emote? That is awesome. I like that. I need to make one of my own. You know, with all that Nintendo Direct news, I did want to mention, the voice of Detective Pikachu in the game is Kaiji Tang, you know, voice of Ichiban Kasuga. He's like, man, on Twitter earlier today, I took the news about Ryan Reynolds taking my role a lot better than people are taking Chris Pratt taking Mario's role. Oh, voice actor humor. Don't get me wrong, like, I understand the backlash. It's just I knew going in that they were gonna give Mario's role to some celebrity, as they do. This is an ongoing thing with voice actors in Hollywood movies. Like, I'm just gonna turn my brain off and watch that movie when it comes out. I already know it's not gonna give us what we want, so whatever. There's no point in, like, raising my blood pressure over it. Manoka Kasuga! That's me! Wait, do I still have the Kasuga? Do I still have the freaking Kasuga VTuber? Imagine if I did a whole stream of that. No, I don't have it anymore. Sad. Anyway, I can't let the man's obvious bad mood put me off. I need information! It's important. It's a game about discovering things. Here, have my badge. Oh wait, this is new.
Your defense lawyer's blazon. It clearly means a lot to you.
Oh, yes. It's a keepsake from my best friend, as well as a symbol of what I'm trying to achieve.
But that friend has returned to us now, Mr. Naruhodo.
Well, until it's time to return this to him, I intend to keep wearing it proudly on my arm. I was wondering about that. I gave back the sword, but not this.
But that friend is going to face you in court, Mr. Naruhodo.
A complicated situation by the sound of it.
Yeah, I wonder who's responsible for that. Give me everything, Mr. Vortex Man. Before I make you smile again.
Does Prosecutor Asogi believe that Lord Van Zieks is the Reaper?
I wouldn't know. It was 10 years ago, in that fateful closed trial, that Lord Van Zieks made a name for himself among the judiciary. But the next trial he fought, he lost. It meant the ringleader of a criminal organization was acquitted thanks to all the jurors being under duress.
But that's awful. Bad even. Bad and wrong, but dong.
The man's freedom was short-lived. He lasted just 3 days.
Yes, let me see. He died in a rock slide at his place of work, I believe.
Sorry, I just imagine him like in an office building, like signing papers on a desk, and all of a sudden rocks just falling from nowhere. Whoa, how did these get here? Must be the work of the Reaper. No wonder people thought it was on purpose.
We trained him wrong, as a joke.
Correct. That was the inauguration of the Reaper of the Bailey.
Rocks from nowhere. Yellow Pikachu, how do you have emotes for every situation? What the heck? And people believe that Lord of Van Zieks was responsible for a rock slide?
He was brought to trial himself, but it was shown to have been an accident.
Well, I would love to have seen the evidence for that trial. As we can see, we have a mountain. Yes. Van Zieks is not an earthbender. He cannot control mountains. This rock slide happened naturally. Dang, I thought we had him. So he must have had a solid alibi then.
Nevertheless, the mysterious deaths continued. In total, 16 persons perished in unusual circumstances, ostensibly at the hand of the Reaper.
16? Thank Grandpa.
That's a long run of coincidences.
If you have an ass, I'll kick it. You know, I've never actually watched Kung Pao. Weird, right? I just know the memes.
Well, the Reaper's true identity may well be revealed by this trial.
And the impact that revelation would have on the British public cannot be understated.
Is that why it's a closed trial?
Precisely. This country hasn't seen a closed trial for 10 years.
So the last one was the professor's? The trial of Genshin Impact Asogi? I do want to give it a watch, but apparently I've dedicated myself to One Piece nights now. Thank you, Sprint.
Correct.
Actually, we heard that originally you were going to prosecute that trial yourself, Lord Strongheart. Oh, dude. Okay, so I've been saying, like, it was weird how Strongheart basically had no involvement in Game 1. And now that he's taken more of a part in Game 2, I want to see him in court. I want to see him, like, I don't know. I guess since we're talking about him being able to prosecute, I want to face Strongheart in court. Heck yeah, that would be awesome. I wonder if he's going to be the last prosecutor for Trial 5. Don't confirm whether or not, but mark me down as saying that if he's not, then whoever is better be a damn good substitute.
Van Zieks entreated me to relinquish the prosecution to him, that he must avenge his brother's death. And here we are, 10 years later. With the son of the man Van Zieks had condemned now looking to avenge his father's death in the same way.
They do say that what goes around comes around. But sure. Goes around, comes back around.
However, it would seem that the new young prosecutor is harboring some ulterior motive as well.
Kazuma is?
I like my organization to run smoothly, in the exact manner that I prescribe.
Then why bother with that variable?
As with the
Is it bad that I almost read that wrong?
As with the giant clock in here, I won't tolerate a single cog being out of step with the others.
You've returned. What have you missed? Well, you know, we're just here talking about giant clocks. Ah, so that's what all these gears are about in here. You actually haven't missed much. We discussed the situation with Iris, and now we're visiting with Strongheart to talk about the trial from yesterday. What really is going to be interesting is when we talk to Daily Vigil, who's in the hospital, and when we talk to Van Zieks in jail. That's where I'm going to get most of my information, I think.
If the young man refuses to mesh with the other parts of my great machine, I will be forced to take steps.
What? What do you mean? What are you on about, eh?
Not something with which you need concern yourself. In any case, all your questions will be answered tomorrow.
Eh? We'll see about that, Mr. Cyclone.
Now I shall have to ask you to excuse me. As of this moment, I've been delayed from attending my next meeting by precisely 3 hours.
Wow, that happened in all 5 minutes.
Oh my, that is a long time!
If anybody was wondering, my Strongheart voice is literally just as low as I can comfortably go. And that's the voice I gave him.
And I hold you entirely responsible.
Even though we miraculously managed to fit everything into not even 5 minutes. I wonder if you might agree to us, talking with Prosecutor Asogi? Prosecutor Soggy Toast?
Discussions between the defense and prosecution outside of the courtroom are generally frowned upon. However, I will make an exception in this case. Now go! You can find him in his office.
He has an office? And I gotta freaking bum it with Herlock Sholmes? Strongheart, why are you keeping this from me? He hasn't even been in London as long as me. Man, it really is like the defense has a big kick me sign on it, doesn't it? Oh, thank you. You're just in time, you sure are.
Let's go see him at once, Mr. Naruhodo.
Kazuma's my best friend in the world, but I'm really not at all sure I know how to talk to him at the moment. Oh, I feel that. Oh, I feel that. You think you know somebody? And then they go and like fake their death and then get amnesia. And then have a father who was actually a serial killer 10 years ago. Jeez. I was ready for him to be like the Mia of this game. Except without, you know, the spirit channeling. Alright, okay. I'm gonna ask again. Anybody have any opinions of whether we should go talk to Van Zieks or Mr. Vigil or now Asogi first? I guess now that Van Zieks is in prison right now, then his office is currently Asogi's. In Kazuma's defense, the death thing wasn't his fault. Fair enough. Fair enough. He could have at least, you know, tried to contact in some way. Heard someone say Mia. Oh yeah, imagine if Kazuma ended up being like Mia. You know, he just had really great advice for us posthumously. Just really big tips on how to be a good defense attorney. Alright, Van Zieks? Alright, I was gonna go there first, I think. Let's go talk to Van Zieks. I'm thinking that because he's in prison, there's not gonna be a lot to look at, so we're just gonna talk to him. I wanna be a big shot? I don't have any chromer, I'm sorry. What is the conversion rate to, like, pounds to chromer in this point? 1900. 2nd November, local prison cell 1.
Lord Van Zieks is reading, look!
Wish I could read.
He doesn't seem like he wants visitors, does he?
But he must have noticed that we're here, surely. I noticed Iris didn't talk at all in Strongheart's place.
What do you Nipponese want?
That's no way to greet the lawyer who's trying his hardest to prove your innocence, is it? I've basically already done so. It's just, per Ace Attorney rules, we have to find the actual killer.
Perhaps not.
Huh?
I apologize. So, what can I do for you, Mr. Naruhodo?
Excuse me, has hell frozen over? Is there like... are pigs flying? Is Van Zieks actually being compliant with me now? Who are you? What have you done with Van Zieks?
Lord Van Zieks, speaking earnestly. Oh, the fog will lift over London for the first time in months tomorrow.
Even Iris has got idioms for it. This does feel very, very strange. And sure, the Thames will have crystal clear water.
I must say, I was impressed.
Oh, well, thank you.
Not by you, by your fellow Nipponese, your prosecutor friend.
I mean, he's impressive too, I guess. Oh. I see. Yes.
It's sardonic, don't you think?
I do feel like a canned sardine right about now.
Sardonic, not sardinic. For a man such as me, it's so loathing of the Nipponese to be entirely at the mercy of the two of you.
No one is nice to Ryunosuke. It is a family curse for the Naruhodo bloodline.
I suppose. It's retribution for having played the part of the Reaper all these years.
Played the part? Like, he knows he's not actually the Reaper, but the fact that he's been quote-unquote okay with the title for so long, maybe there's a reason for it. You once told me that the world was gonna roll me, that I'm not the sharpest tool in the shed, and that you gladly allowed people to believe you were the Reaper, and put a shape of an L on your forehead. It helped reduce the amount of serious crime that took place in London. L for London.
If keeping quiet and playing the part benefits the cause, a cause I myself am committed to pursuing, then why would I choose to say anything?
But the henchman of a criminal killed by the Reaper attacked you only the other day. And that was the most recent of many attempts on your life, wasn't it? I mean, you looked badass on that newspaper, but are you really okay with that? Someone is clearly profiting from your silence about all this. Someone is using you.
Believe me, ever since the Reaper first appeared, I've been doing my utmost to expose him. Or rather, expose the organization.
It's a whole organization?
They definitely seem competent. I don't think it's just one person.
It's inconceivable that all those accidents were orchestrated by one man.
Causing a freaking rock slide? Yeah, no. It has to be an entire team of effort. Freaking Spider-Man Far From Home style, you know?
No, the Reaper always appears to have very accurate information about the accused in each case, which can only mean that somebody at Scotland Yard is involved.
Someone at... You can't mean...
It's taken me many years, but I finally identified the central figure in this Reaper organization.
Tobias? What? But he's a good boy.
Tobias Gregson.
No! No!
Gregson? The Reaper? I don't believe it.
He's just a humble lover of fish and chips. Not only is he in the best inspector in the yard, he's also a murderer? How complex is this man? Posthumously. Man! Oh geez, that's very sus. Thank you for the eyes. Ace Attorney, you are not doing this to me right now. I am feeling so conflicted. I like Gregson. I was mourning him. Now I have to hate him? So the reason you were investigating Inspector Gregson is because you intended to expose him as the Reaper?
As I said, the Reaper of the Bailey is no single person. It's a highly secret organization with close ties to Scotland Yard. But there's no doubt that Gregson was a key member of that organization.
I don't know how to take this. Me neither, Susato.
I don't believe it! Are you saying that, Grexy? That he was behind all those awful criminals meeting there?
That's not justice. That's not justice at all. That's revenge.
Gregson didn't do the dirty work himself.
Oh,
He was the tactician, His job was to covertly investigate the marks and plot their assassinations. In order to do that without arousing suspicion, he regularly needed a firm alibi.
Which is where Mr. Vigil came in, posing as the inspector.
Vigil knows nothing of the Reaper, but the room he rents on Fresno Street was almost certainly the headquarters of the operation. Gregson would have met the assassin there for briefings.
Daily Vigil was the I don't think so. So we don't actually know who carried out the killings then?
Actually, I do have a name.
You what?
Well, if you can name the man, you have the true identity of the Reaper already then.
Or, if I can name the woman.
Scythe?
Oh.
She's a young woman by the name of Assassin.
Okay, so that's one of the names that was from that tape from the first game. But I had to be told that because they localized it differently from the fan translation. Also, assassin. Cool. Wait.
What? Shin?
Miss Assassin. The true name of a terrifying killer I know only too well. Giselle frickin' Brett. All the way back to her. How? Dude, imagine if the Ace Attorney trilogy, frickin' Trials and Tribulations, tied everything back to a giant conspiracy involving Mr. Frank Side. That's almost what I'm feeling right now, if I didn't already think that they had so much plans for Giselle Brett. She came to Japan posing as a visiting student and murdered Dr. John H. Watson. Then just when it seemed the diplomatic protection would help her escape Japan and conviction, the mysterious woman was herself murdered in a small summer beach hut. And that woman was actually the Reaper of the Bailey? She seems definitely experienced with assassination. She would have gotten away with the whole Kurari thing. Oh, speaking of which, I totally forgot to enable those redemptions. I am very sorry. I meant to only have those on during Ace Attorney. Let me just reactivate those right now. There you go. For anybody who wants to fulfill their pronunciation needs of poisons and whatnot.
Kurari.
Thank you, Sprint.
Mr. ManokAdobo, perhaps this isn't the best place to discuss.
No, of course not. We can't mention it here. The fact that she killed Dr. John H. Watson. Oh, yeah, no, we need some innocence to protect.
What?
Nothing. Because Iris doesn't know, and it's very likely that the man was a father.
Assassin.
A chicken? No,
Assassin. I should let father know at once.
yes, I agree. Man, just with the freaking Japanese judge and Mikotoba just here. Like, I know Giselle is dead, but I don't know. Anybody else who could have been working under the Reaper organization could be out there right now. And I'm scared. I'm scared that we don't know.
Kazuma, isn't it? Kazuma Asogi. You say he's a friend of yours.
My best friend.
Oh yeah, what's his favorite color?
Red?
No, it's green. How would you think that?
I don't know, he has a red headband.
Yes, but you will ignore one thing, you fool. Asogi is colorblind.
No! He's the whole reason I got to come to Britain. It was all on his merits. I have nothing but respect for him.
Yes, I understand that the very best students are selected for such opportunities. And but I had a fine demonstration of how sharp he is in the proceedings earlier today. He missed nothing.
Didn't he? I felt like I was in charge that whole time.
In fact, his flawless performance was very much reminded me of his father.
The killer? Sir, were we watching the same trial?
Genshin Asogi, the critically acclaimed MMORPG.
It's true that the aristocracy at the time was the root of numerous grave societal problems. They were abusing their power, playing with the common man as pawns in politics, in economics, in war. In many ways, Asogi was carving out a canker from society that we British could not deal with ourselves.
You saying you think his work was justified despite the fact that he killed your brother? Oh, Ace Attorney, why you gotta be complex like this? I'm on a roller coaster that's like still under construction. I see. The track is being laid right in front of me as we plummet to dips and loop-de-loops.
But that's precisely why it makes no sense. Clint Van Zieks was a noble and upstanding man. He wasn't corrupt. Why did that damned Nipponese have to go and take my brother's life?
Maybe you don't know as much about your brother than you think?
In spite of having once saved mine.
He saved your life? How did that happen?
It was 10 years ago,
Of course it was.
on a foggy night. What was to be the professor's final strike had sent a wave of panic through the capital.
So Clint Van Zieks had already been killed at this point then.
Genshin and I were walking down some back streets at a late hour. Of course,
Wait, you were walking with your brother's killer? Did you know he was? Oh, okay.
at that point I had no idea of the true nature of the man at my side. All of a sudden,
Don't make a peep! You're coming with us! Look at him. Is that a white headband? Or tie?
we were surrounded. All of our assailants were armed with pistols, their faces obscured by scars. Clint was not only from noble heritage, he was a brilliant prosecutor as well. The scum of London hated the sight of him, and they had no sympathy for his younger brother either. I'd been targeted several times before already.
Yeah, it's Van Zieks, alright! We got him!
I could hear them murmuring amongst themselves. I knew they were after me, but just when I thought my time had come. If I let them kill you, Clint would never forgive me.
Oh. What? Oh, Genshin Asogi. I'm like, what? Kazuma? He was like a baby at the time. No. Genshin Asogi's voice. Okay.
It was Asogi's voice, just a whisper in my ear.
Bang. Damn.
After that, I don't remember exactly what happened. The next thing I knew, there was silence all around. Genshin lay on the cobbled street. Blood was seeping from his left hand. It shielded me.
I can't believe the bellowing headband is genetic. Where do you think he inherited it from? Oh my goodness, oh my gosh, it's just part of his hair.
2 days later, they arrested him on suspicion of being London's most notorious mass murderer ever, the Professor.
How awful for you!
All at once, I lost the brother I revered and the foreign friend I held in such high regard.
I'm so sorry, Lord Van Zieks.
That's the end of my miserable tale. I never thought I'd recount it to anyone.
Well, thank you for confiding in me. I don't think he was confiding, more like cooperating with his lawyer, who happens to be also his enemy. You'll come around, Van Zieks, sooner or later. I am a little scared, though. I had this thought off stream the other day. Again, no confirmations, just I'm scared that because we're already having the case where the main prosecutor is not the prosecutor and is being accused, because that's happening now in trial in case 4, I'm scared that something's going to happen to Van Zieks in case 5 that will also not have him be able to be the prosecutor. And, you know, I just hope he stays okay.
The Professor, the Reaper, and Inspector Gregson. I wonder just how intimately related they all are.
I still can't quite believe that Gregson was essentially the Reaper, giving assassination orders to Giselle Brett.
Mr. Naruhodo, let's go and inform my father. I'm sure our government will want to hear about this new information. Oh, that means I get to meet your daddy, Susie. Hooray!
Iris, this is not time for hooray. Yes. All right. Let's head back to the Great Waterloo Hotel then. Oh, good. More places to visit. Don't worry, Van Zieks. We'll talk to you another time, but thanks for the chat. I'm very sorry for your pain, but... Oh boy. Oh wait, can we go to... No, we can't go to the governor's office. Sad. Sag.
Jigoku.
2nd November. Great Waterloo Hotel foyer.
I thought yesterday, and I think it again today. This place is so... princely.
It's a wild guess, but I have a feeling you'll think the same tomorrow, too. It's not like they're gonna change their decorations anytime soon. Maybe for Halloween.
My tea has a finer fragrance than whatever they're serving in the tea room here, though. Wouldn't you say?
Well, you know, they got the cheap tea. Assuming Jigoku.
Look what we have here. This is an unexpected pleasure.
No, it's Mikotoba.
This is an unexpected pleasure.
Father! Oh, is this your daddy, Susie? How lovely!
Thank you for pronouncing foyer correctly. That and cash. Okay. Yeah, you know, I would like to say foyer, but so many people think it's actually pronounced foyer that I have to pronounce it foyer. I like to pronounce things wrong on purpose because it's funny, but when it's foyer, I just have to do it right. Cash. As a programmer, I cannot forgive myself if I ever pronounce that one wrong. Cache. No, cash. Cash. I write caches in Java code. Come on, easy.
What a charming young lady. And you are? Ah, really? So you're the author of The Adventures of Herlock Sholmes, are you?
Surprising, I know.
That's me, Iris Wilson, at your service, sir.
Wilson, isn't that the name of the chap who...
Don't worry about it, Mikotoba. Don't mention a thing.
Susie's been such a wonderful friend to me over the last year, you know.
You also got cash. Nice. Nice liquid assets.
Well, Miss Wilson, I must say I read your work regularly and with much interest.
Iris actually lives with Mr. Sholmes, you know, Father.
Is that so? Well, perhaps that goes some way to explaining that bright look in your eyes.
You wouldn't be smiling so early if you knew just how bright she is, believe you me.
Now then, young Naruhodo, it was a pleasure seeing you in action earlier. As an invitee at the symposium, I was allowed to observe from the gallery. After I twisted some arms, literally, where do you think Susato learned the Susato toss? It used to be the Mikotoba takedown. And I must say, it was a truly exemplary performance. The takedowns, I mean. I think those fellows are still in hospital.
Oh, well, thank you very much. You know, Mikotoba hasn't seen Ryunosuke in court ever since that first time way back when, so he's definitely grown so much as a person. Although I'm fairly sure you admitted by Kazuma on the end there. Again, last time he saw Ryunosuke in court was also with Kazuma, so it still fits.
No, please don't misunderstand. It was you who impressed me.
He heard my mumbling. Really?
You didn't miss a step against Asogi, and we all know how capable he is. Really, to have matured into such a fine defense lawyer in less than a year is quite extraordinary.
It's very kind of you to say so. Really nice to hear. Finally, somebody doesn't listen to the kick me sign.
What I saw in court today confirmed what I'd been hoping for.
Someone finally nice to a Naruhodo. Man, where does the Mikotoba family bloodline go? Come on, please, tell me you have some ancestor in the main trilogy. Maybe they ended up becoming the Fae clan.
The favor I mentioned yesterday, Naruhodo, I trust you haven't forgotten.
Oh, no. Totally I have. You did mention something, didn't you?
But first, we have something to report, Father.
Of course. Shall we take tea while we discuss matters further?
I wonder what Judge Jigoku has got to. Is he hanging out with Bailiff Jikrillin? Having a rivalry with Judge Vegeta? First, have you seen my badge? Probably, but let's look at it again. Look at this.
Kazuma's armband. He was wearing that when he left for Great Britain. How curious. Doesn't strike me at all, Lord, to see you wearing it. It rather suits you.
Oh.
Are you intending to return it to him?
Well, yes, I mean, it has his name on it. Now that we found out he's alive, it doesn't make sense for me to keep it.
Well, if you ask me, I think Kazuma would be delighted to see you wearing it.
Could we at least get my name on it? Oh, I'd feel honored if that was true. Wow. Wait, I guess we can talk about that too. I haven't seen Judge Jigoku for a while, have you?
Guilty!
But that guilty is still ringing in my ears.
No, now that you mention it, I haven't seen him since this morning either.
Uh-oh.
I suppose since the symposium's opening was postponed, he'll have gone to explore at the Great Exhibition.
That reminds me of something you mentioned yesterday. About Judge Jigoku having once been in the dock himself.
Ah, yes. It was all tied up with that accursed trial.
The closed trial. Kazuma's father.
Seishiro was trying to mitigate Genshin's guilt, so he took to the stand to testify. But he got a little carried away and, actually managed to break the witness stand.
Whoa! No wonder they gave him a gavel. He's a natural. Did he also slam his leg on the desk?
Oh my!
He also said some contemptuous words about the British Empire, for which he was charged. Thankfully, they were in Japanese and nobody could understand him.
Oh dear. Although it's worryingly easy to imagine him doing that. Thinking about young man Jigoku, how much of a hothead he must have been. You think he still had the beard? Maybe it was just peach fuzz at the time.
But it was all right in the end. He was acquitted and we returned home to Japan together.
Jigoku chose violence. I'm loving that we're getting more backstory on the man that we thought was just a placeholder judge in first game.
Thank goodness.
Ah, yes, talking of Seishiro, I have a copy of the photograph we all took together here yesterday. Please.
Heck yeah. Aw, Naruhodo. Susie looking freaking adorable, by the way. Look at she. Man.
Oh, what a lovely picture.
It certainly seems to shout, "We've arrived in Britain!" Maybe you do. Everyone else is just happy to be here. What's with that look, Jigoku? Why do you look so contemplative? The commemorative photograph has been entered.
None of us had any idea what was coming when we took that, did we?
No, that's so true.
You would have all looked sad. Let me see. Boo. Aw, man, it's in the evidence. That means I'm gonna have to present it during court.
Hee.
About the Reaper.
Father, do you know about the so-called Reaper of the Bailey?
I've heard rumors. Some members of the judiciary explained it all to me yesterday. Of course, when I was a visiting student here in London, the Reaper was yet to emerge.
Right. He didn't appear until after that case when the visiting students had already returned home.
Lord Van Zieks, who was in the dock today. That was Baroque, the younger brother of Clint Van Zieks, I believe.
That's right. And he's known throughout London as the Reaper, as you've heard. But the truth is, it wasn't him behind all of those mysterious deaths. It was somebody else.
I see. So what you're saying is there's been a professional killer at work here?
Exactly. Someone by the name of Assassin, in fact.
I beg your pardon? Assassin? Kind of dumb name.
I know. Just go with it.
Did you say Assassin? You mean that Giselle Brett woman was responsible for killing my great friend?
Not in front of Iris.
Oh no! A friend of yours was killed!
Hey, Mikotoba, by the way, this is Iris Wilson, a young girl who is very impressionable, and we want her to have a good childhood and not be traumatized by anything. Professor Mikotoba, I think perhaps we shouldn't discuss this right now. Because the friend the professor is talking about is Dr. John H. Wilson. That's not something we want Iris to find out about. Not like this, anyway. Oh, clever, Ryunosuke. He knows that the Mikotobas can hear his mumbling. By the way, let's talk about Dr. Wilson's death. No! Okay, let's do it.
I just remembered something. Biscuits! This hotel has the most delicious-looking biscuits.
Thank you, Susato. Nice save.
That was rather out of the blue.
She's doing this deliberately.
I think I'll go and see if I can purchase some. Iris, come with me, please.
Susato, please, thank you. I see she's learned a new technique. The Susato distraction! Can I learn the Susato School of Martial Arts? It seems very thorough. I want to train at the Mikotoba dojo.
I wonder if... Would you like to come too, Iris? Oh, yes. You just try and leave me behind.
Oh, you won't.
So, that young girl is called Iris Wilson, is she?
Well, she's Iris Watson, but legal doesn't allow us to say Watson. Yes, that's right. Nice biscuits, Yellow Pikachu. Oh yeah, this is England, so biscuits, they actually mean cookies. Heck yeah.
And she's the author of all those adventure stories starring the great detective Sholmes. But the name of the credited author isn't Iris, is it?
Can they say Arthur Conan Doyle?
It's Dr.
Oh, no, they say... Oh, never mind.
It's Dr. John H. Wilson.
Yes, I know. That's the name of her father, you see.
Father? Dr. John H. Wilson. I was deeply indebted to the man for all the kindness he showed me during my time in London. That's why I was keen to reciprocate and invite him to the Imperial Yume University 4 years ago. No wonder he never wanted to talk about his authored works. Man's not a writer at all.
But he was murdered last year. by Giselle Barrett. Why? Why would the hand of the Reaper stretch all the way to Japan? Well, I'm glad that Soseki Natsume was safe after all, even though Assassin was closer than he would have ever expected. Heck, he was part of her murder trial. Iris knows nothing about that case, but it seems very likely that the victim, Dr. Wilson, was her father.
Well, I can't say that we ever spoke about his family, so I don't know if he had a daughter or not.
What if, like, she's actually totally unrelated to him somehow? Turns out we were working for nothing.
But I think I can say with some certainty that he was never the great detective's partner.
So it could have been another Dr. Wilson, you think?
Well, John and Wilson are both common names after all. Still, it's probably best not to mention this to the young lady until we can be sure.
That's what we thought, yes.
Ah! We're back with cinnamon biscuits!
I want some. Ooh, they smell delicious, Iris. Tell me more about them and pay no attention to our current topic of discussion. Speaking of desserts, since I put up Queen Miku's chocolate desserts the other day, it's only fair that I show y'all something that came in the mail today. They were baked for my birthday, but, you know, the mail took a while. Let me just download them real quick, because I forgot to earlier. But a certain Sprint6864 made some chocolate cupcakes and sent them over. I am forever in his debt. Take a look at these. Take a look at these. If I can make them the right size. There you go. Look at how much chocolate. They got tag-alongs in them. Little sprinkles. I heard they're filled with Nutella too. I can definitely taste it. I've had one. And ooh. Oh! Sprint, thank you again. It may be 10 days after my birthday, but I still appreciate them so much. They are good. A little dry. It's been a while since they were made, but... Hey, Sprint, you want to come down to TwitchCon so I can give you back your Tupperware? Seems like the USPS also has some nibbles. Dang it, I knew they had something to do with it. Fun fact, my dad used to work for the USPS, so if he still was, I'd say, you know what, maybe he got a bite of them first. He used to be a mail sorter, so, like, sometimes he would actually see the mail meant for our, like, own house. And he was actually allowed to take them early. Like, instead of sending them through the system, he'd just be like, oh, this mail's mine, I'll just take this. Funny, that.
Oh, they smell delicious, Iris.
Send Sprint something back. Yeah, now that I have his return address. That was my plan all along. The partnership of the traveling Tupperware.
Strychnine.
Oh yeah, strychnine. Why did it say it? Why did it say it like that? Strychnine. I'm just gonna send Sprint my extra copy of Dragon Quest V in a Tupperware. One of my chicken wings. I only got 2 of those. I need those to play video games.
I think cinnamon will go very well with the tea they serve here. Don't you, Susie?
Susie. I don't see no purple dragon dinosaur.
Yes, I'm sure you're right, Iris.
Oh, hold on. Let me just... okay, I forgot to announce this, but, I was going to say that I had been planning to play... I heard there's an alternate route for Deltarune Chapter 2. Again, no spoilers. But I was going to do the alternate route as part of... Like, oh yeah, I'll just wait until the game comes out on Nintendo Switch. And then we'll just play it then. Because I don't want to, like, mess up my save file in any way. And before I could even announce that, turns out, yeah, Toby Fox on that Nintendo Direct today, just like, guess what? It's out. Guess what? The game's out. So, yeah, no, I'm not doing that now, but I'll schedule it as part of my freaking Halloween stuff. Okay, I've been searching for a picture of Susie that was, like, not a WebP. It took me this long to find it. Just for this one joke.
Yes, I'm sure you're right, Iris. Ha, 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 ha.
Whippy! You've seen some streamers play it. It looks fun. Yeah. Also, welcome on in, What the Fabachi. Yeah. I'm still actually replaying through Chapter 1 on my Switch. Just so there's some choices there that I wanted to see the alternate, answers to. So, when that's done, I'll schedule it for Halloween Spooktober stuff. It's definitely a run that makes sense for Halloween, so, yeah. Besides that, other games I'm looking forward to playing for Halloween. I got my copy of Yakuza Dead Souls in the mail, so I'm gonna hook up the PS3 for that. Also gonna be playing some Little Nightmares 2. I know that came out. Maybe I'm gonna do more runs of World of Horror. I want to see if any new updates have happened to that game since I played it last year. Probably. I hope so. And, yeah. So what about this favor? Yeah, Strychnine. So you mentioned a favor that you'd like to ask me?
Well, this fateful trial that you're fighting, one way or another, it will be over before long. And when it is, I'd like you to accompany me back to Japan.
What? Am I not safe here? You want me to do... What? Iris, help! Ah, my ears.
Father! What is the meaning of this?
Oh, look at her sass.
Father, surely! You must be joking! Ha ha, so funny!
Now, Susato, you should understand. You've seen how our courts work firsthand. Japan's judicial system is in its infancy, especially when it comes to defense.
You know, he's right, though. Oh, yeah, I have to continue the Naruhodo bloodline. And, you know, it won't make sense unless Naruhodo returns to Japanifornia. Okay, fine. Let's keep the timeline intact.
Oh, you mean...
The Supreme Court of Judicature is in desperate need of a good defense lawyer. As soon as possible. Really, quite urgently, in fact.
But I've not even been in London for a year yet.
I've read all of Sasato's reports. I'm well aware of your extraordinary talents. And having seen you in action with my own eyes earlier today, there's no question. You, Naruhodo, are precisely the man our country needs.
But not the man our country deserves. Exclamation point! Adam Oliveira, you were gifted a sub. If you were, it was a while ago, because I don't think it happened today, but enjoy the emotes. Grab a nest and get comfy.
So you be leaving then for now?
Iris, you can come to Japan with us.
But then, what am I supposed to do for that?
You came here to serve as Asogi's judicial assistant.
Oh. And Asogi's here. Is she gonna stay here? Oh, yes, she's supposed to be Kazuma's assistant.
Our government is still in the process of deciding how best to deal with his situation, though.
You know, since he was dead and all.
You've always chosen your own path, Susato, and I trust your judgment. In this matter also.
It's up to her. Oh no, Kazuma! Kazuma, come with us too! We can't take Iris with us. Who will watch over Sholmes? You know what? You're right. We can't let him go unchecked. Iris needs to stay here. Fine. But I hope she does invent, like, a teleporter or something so she can come by whenever she wants.
Please.
Oh, well, actually, the last time a teleporter got invented, things went wrong, so maybe not.
Please, the pair of you. Don't look so downcast. It's merely a suggestion, you understand. A hope, if I'm honest, but I won't force you. All I ask is that you consider it, and come to a decision by the time the trial concludes.
Yes. All right.
You won't leave with you now?
I don't know. The thought hadn't even crossed my mind. Well, yes, that's why Mikotoba asked. Up until now, I've just been trying to do what I believe to be Kazuma's will.
The boss's will. The philosopher's legacy.
But it turns out that he's still alive, so where does it leave me? A man without a purpose. So sad.
Well, if you'll excuse me now, I need to telegram government ministers and the Japanese police with this information about Assassin.
Yeah, that makes sense. Important business. We've just given him more paperwork.
Of course, Father. Thank you.
I look forward to next month's installment, Miss Wilson.
Good. And please, do come to Baker Street sometime, won't you?
Also, thanks for the follow. Any new followers? I usually don't call them out loud in case there's trolls out there, especially in recent times, but I still appreciate all y'all, whether you want to lurk or just watch. I still appreciated all the support.
We'd love to entertain you.
A man without a purpose. Don't clip that.
I would be delighted. The best of luck for tomorrow, Naruhodo. And give my suggestion to your full consideration, won't you?
Yes, I will. Going back home. Come on, Naruhodo, I bet you miss all the good Japanese food. Ramen, curry, sushi. I mean, like, they got... Have you seen what they do to fish over here, Mikotoba? They don't make sushi, they cover it in batter and deep fry it. It's delicious, but it's not the same. Did I even mention this? I probably did, but it's worth mentioning again. Over the weekend, I went to all-you-can-eat sushi with some friends. And at this point, it's basically a tradition. But, first of all, I did eat it all that I could anyway. And just look at this stuff. Look at this stuff! Ladies and gentlemen, this is 20 pieces of salmon sushi. And this isn't even like all of it. I think we ordered a total like 40 that day. On top of rolls and other things. If you ever want to help celebrate my birthday, also go to All You Can Eat Sushi. Thank you for the porpoise clip. Now, thing about this place is that these are smaller than they appear. Like, I want to say that each piece of salmon was only like, I don't know, an inch long. So don't think of it as like, wow, you ate entire pieces of salmon. No, like the sushi itself was like a cubic centimeter. I mean, the rice was a cubic centimeter with a little bit of fish on it. So it looks like a lot, but it's actually not that much. We did eat a lot, though. I like sushi. All you can eat sushi in LA. Never seen one, only in Brazil. Well, it depends. We actually had to go quite a bit far away. It wasn't really LA proper. We went to Cerritos. So, gives you an idea of how far you have to go to get all you can eat sushi in LA. But, not that far. You're going sushi on the weekend. Heck yeah. What is my stream if not something that makes everybody hungry? It was really good. Adam, if you go, let me know. I can send you the name of the place. Just ask me in a DM.
Kazuma-sama has always meant a great deal to my father.
It's common in Brazil. Brazil surprisingly has a lot of like connection to Japan. When I visited Japan, pretty much every restaurant that was like, we speak English and we do so very well. Please welcome all American visitors. All the staff is always Brazilian. It's like the niche with like Brazilian Japanese immigrants in Japan. And you know what? That's a cool thing that I never knew about. I really liked this experience of going to those places because it was just cool, like talking with people who also like weren't from Japan, but we could share like stories. I met people who were like, yeah, I'm Brazilian Japanese, but my family's from Texas. I'm like, dude, I'm from California. Oh, you should talk to Jim over there. He's from California. Yeah, heck yeah.
I'm sure he'd love the chance to meet with him and talk to him about all this.
Don't tell me what the clip. Thank you for the clip, Green Link. Yes, no doubt. Moral of the story. Go to Japan. and go to quote-unquote American restaurants. It's a fun time. Asashin. Of course, it's so obvious. Who's talking?
Of course, it's so obvious! How could I have neglected to consider the possibility before now?
Welcome, Shams. How you doing? Where you been all day? We've been looking for you. We were worried. We thought you might have gone back to being a statue.
Hi, Mr. Sholmes!
15% of the Brazilian population is descendant of Japanese immigrants. Interesting. I'll take things I never knew for 500, Alex. He was hanging from the chandelier the whole time, I bet. I would have loved if the game gave me that option, but like, didn't allow me to actually click on him. It's like, I see him there. What are you doing? Sao Paulo, huge community. Interesting. That must be where that one case in Ace Attorney 5 takes place.
Honey, where have you been?
Why, I joined you all for tea, of course. What an extraordinary question.
I didn't notice you at all.
No matter, no matter. Anyway, to more pressing concerns, Mr. Naruto.
Yes?
I must dispatch a telegram to your country at once. It is a matter of much urgency.
Is it about Asashin? We kinda are already on that. To Japan, you mean?
Tell me, to whom can I entrust the task? Quickly now, who?
Oh, Mikotoba's over there.
Well, my father has just now left to send a telegram to the Imperial Police Bureau of Japan himself.
I see. Well, he looked reliable enough for a bearded fellow.
What, you don't trust beards?
I don't think what father sports could be considered a beard, Mr. Sholmes.
Oh, right, he only has a mustache.
There's not a moment to lose. Kindly ask your trusty unshaven fathers.
What? Why is that so funny to me? Your trusty unshaven father, as opposed to your suspicious bald-faced father. They must be a bald-faced liar.
To see this is sent.
I will, but what is it?
I can't see it myself. Hate you, fearlessness, Herlock Sholmes. Okay, this is definitely edited over the Japanese version of the game. By the way, I'm using my Joy-Cons instead of my Pro Controller today because I don't know where my Pro Controller is. That's a little concerning. My Joy-Cons are here because I was using them to play Skyward Sword and they kind of haven't left, so... You know, I'm making the most of it.
No question.
I should be using an N64 controller, huh?
No questions at this time, if you please, Miss Rusato. All we can do is pray that for once, my deduction is awry.
For once, huh? Doesn't that imply that your deductions are normally correct, Mr. Sholmes? Which isn't exact.
Now then!
Sure.
You may be surprised to learn that I'm a very, very busy man.
I can buy the N64 and Genesis controllers. Wait, are they out now? Are they out? Oh, I hope they're still available when the stream's over. So that's what joining us for tea meant.
I leave the sending of this in your hands then, my dear fellows.
Oh, when they get out. Okay. I'm not too worried because everybody hates on the N64 controller. And like the NES and Super NES ones have been out for a long time and they're still available. So yeah, even if they sell out now, like I'll be able to get one, I think. Wait a minute, Mr. Sholmes!
He just sort of ran off, didn't he? At quite a pace.
And left the unpaid bill for this tea behind too. Ah, damn it, it's hotel tea. This ain't a continental breakfast? Dang.
I must catch up with father at the telegraph office at once. And I'll run and call us a cab straight away.
And there was me thinking everyone would be clamoring to pay Mr. Shones' bill. Sorry. Now that Mikotoba is gone, the kick me sign is now in full effect once more. Wow. I think now is a good time to go talk to Mr. Vigil. We still have unattended business. Probably talk to Asogi. And then also go back to the Fresno office for clues? Maybe. Wait, people hate on the N64 controller? I thought they just meme it with third hand. Well, I mean, like, it's hard to tell these days. Because the thing about memes is that they freaking, like, get telephoned into actual opinions. And then suddenly people don't realize why they hate things. I've said it before, but the N64 controller was actually a good, like, for the time it came out, it was a good design for what they could have thought games needed. The idea is like, will things go 3D for fulls, for realsies, or will we stay with 2D games? If we stay with 2D games, we need to be able to have, like, fighting games with 6 buttons on the front. Hence, 4 C buttons, 2 regular buttons. We need to have the D-pad, like, front and center. Hence, an entire prong for the D-pad with an L button. And, you know, there were 2D games that used the D-pad, and it is a D-pad. It is a straight-up Nintendo D-pad, the ones that everybody loves from the Super Nintendo era. A little shame that no games really used it, but there were a couple. Turns out the other bet was correct, that 3D would become the new big thing, and so most games were played with the analog stick. But again, if they didn't design the controller that way, if they, like, made the analog stick a more secondary thing, then wouldn't they have such egg on their face for not making the analog stick a quote-unquote primary control, you know? Now we pretty much solidify what a controller looks like. 2 analog sticks, lots and lots of buttons. But it was a weird time to be making games back then. 2nd November, St. Sinners Hospital, War 3. You got an ad. I'm sorry. I don't know how much of that conversation you missed, but, short story, N64 controller good. I want one.
This is the ward where Mr. Vigil was brought, apparently.
To be frank, I'm a little worried about seeing him again. Should you be up and about, Mr. Vigil? What voice did they give him? Ralsei's voice.
Ah, the lawyer. Hello again. Are you feeling better now, Mr. Vigil?
Yes, thank you.
Somewhat better.
I'm so sorry to have caused you to... I mean, it was because of me. If I hadn't exposed your secret and forced you to remember things you'd obviously tried to forget.
The prosecutor was here until a few moments ago, too. You just missed him.
Oh, Kazuma beat us to it. What? It would have been really funny if we went to Kazuma's office and then came here.
He said much the same as you. He was very apologetic. But the truth is, I brought all of this upon myself.
Please don't think like that.
Keeping it from Evie, my wife. All these years, I'd carried such a sense of guilt. But that's not the worst of it. Over time, I obviously came to deceive myself as well. You mean about your dismissal? Looking back now, I'm beginning to think that perhaps Inspector Gregson didn't stumble across me by accident at all. I mean, he compensated me so generously for acting as his stand-in. He was clearly concerned for my well-being and doing what he could to help.
So perhaps Gregson knew exactly what had become involved of Mr. Vigil all along then. You know, Mr. Vigil, I don't expect you to, but whatever you do, do not lick the floor.
What?
Why would I? Just don't. Not sure how well they clean the place. A rat died there earlier, let's just say that.
I'm sure this is just deserts. For 10 years,
Just deserts? Isn't it just desserts? Or is that what the phrase actually used to be? Just deserts?
I'm sure this is just deserts for 10 years of lies and deception, but...
Desert beep. It's actually a typo? Okay. You can never tell whether it's like, oh, that's actually how they called it back in not ancient, but like 1800s Britain. No, it's a typo. Somebody at Capcom doesn't know their deserts from their desserts.
It wasn't me that helped the professor escape 10 years ago. It wasn't me.
Just deserts. I don't want to go to a desert. I live in California. I'm already in a desert. Hydrate. I need water. Thank you. In ancient Britain. Oh, is it actually what they said back then? Did you look it up?
I swear it's true.
Oh, it is actually what they... Okay, Capcom did their research. Apparently. Yeah, back in Stonehenge era Britain, apparently. Oh no, huh? Dang! The phrase is get one's just deserts. Weird. What does the etymology mean? If anybody knows. I would have never imagined.
Oh, Mr. Vigil.
I'm sure you'd rather not dredge up even more from your past at this time, but... Let me ask anyway. If possible, could you tell us exactly what really happened? I know it means receive the appropriate reward or punishment. But like, what does it have to do with the desert? I need to get all of this off my chest. I just want someone to tell me what I should have done. You know, I'm sure it's not your fault, Daily. Okay, we had the explanation in chat. Despite its pronunciation, just desserts with one S is the proper spelling for the phrase meaning the punishment one deserves. The phrase is even older than dessert, using an older noun form of desert, meaning deserved reward or punishment. Oh! So it has nothing to do with the desert, but is actually a word. It's not even an idiom, but it's literally what that word means. That is fascinating. So your just desserts really just means your justified reward, your justified punishment. Huh! And here I thought that Yu-Gi-Oh card, was that Yu-Gi-Oh card, just desserts? Also, Obes Connoisseur, how you doing, Obesty? We're talking about Yu-Gi-Oh cards.
Welcome. You were close.
How's it going? We just came across what we thought was a typo in this game, but it's actually how that phrase is supposed to be spelled. Just deserts. Not just desserts. Also, this card sucks. Inflict 500 points of direct damage for each monster. What? How you doing, Obesty? How you been? Did you like the Nintendo Direct? Are you excited for a certain pigeon?
I play Pot of Greed.
How you doing? How's your night been? Hope you've been well, sir. Guys, go check out Obes Connoisseur. If you like Nintendo games, if you like that discussion about the Nintendo Direct. Oops. I shouted out his emote of a clown. You know, I can never tell the difference. We're playing some Ace Attorney, the Great Ace Attorney. I know, Obes, you said that you wouldn't really stream the series because it's... Fair enough, it's not for everybody to stream. But I urge you, if you just like the story, to play the Great Ace Attorney. Because one, it's separate, and two, it's the best game in the series so far. And I really mean that. I really mean that. The story is just so dang compelling. Just as a, you know, a novel. As a story, as a book. You have that book club, right?
Inspector Gregson was obviously engaged in a special operation of some sort. He was investigating something that even Scotland Yard couldn't know about.
Oh yeah, we heard about that. He's actually a murderer.
Dang.
Maybe that's a spoiler. Details of the Reaper's marks, yes. Follow the clowns, good idea.
It was when he had to carry out those investigations that I would take his identification and impersonate him.
You'd pretend to be the inspector and carry out investigations on his behalf. Whoa! What was that animation? It's like he's diving, or rather rising from the depths.
Oh no, never! A common street peddler couldn't possibly carry out a proper police investigation.
What were you playing, Obes? It says you're playing retro? You excited for the N64 games, by the way? You know what? I'm just gonna honestly play Star Fox over and over and over again, and I hope everyone's okay with that being my streams from then on. Sorry, everyone watching for Ace Attorney.
All I would have to do is go to the specified location and make a little hoo-ha!
Do the monkey with me.
A little hoo-ha.
Whoa, oh my, hoo-ha.
Just something to leave an impression, so everyone there would think a detective called Gregson was here.
Just leave his mark.
So that's what you were doing on the day prior to the incident.
You know, not even put a fake mustache on. Get some fish and chips.
Yes, he asked me to make an appearance at the park on Lime Street for the Red-Headed League event. So as usual, I flashed the inspector's identification around and was very vocal about my presence.
Oh, there you go, flashing your hoo-ha around. Frickin', could you even be any worse of an impersonator, Daily?
Then you were taken prisoner by those red-headed fraudsters.
He didn't even try to be subtle. He wasn't supposed to be subtle. Just wear a red wig and say,
I'm Inspector Gregson. I'm the Flying Dutchman. I'm the Flying Dutchman.
Yes.
Played some Mario, nice. Hope you had fun.
So you would always make a point of showing Gregson's identification and generally being loud.
That's one way to impersonate someone, I guess.
That's when the inspector asked me to do, yes. Oh, that's one way of becoming a legendary detective, I suppose. Not a good one, though.
It's all about making a fuss. No such thing as bad press.
And as you know, I suffered this bruising around my neck and their hands. But the following day, they kept their word and released me.
Without returning the inspector's identification to you, however. You hope they get the release of Panel de Pon 64, because it's stuck on GameCube. Huh. You know, I bet we'll probably get Pokemon Puzzle League, if anything. At the same time, licensing would probably be a struggle. I played Pokemon Puzzle League on the Game Boy Color, and that game was a freaking fantastic rendition of Panel de Pon, by the way. You could get a Totodile, that's all I needed.
We'd arranged to meet in the Fresno Street room at the 5 that day so I could report back to the inspector. But at the agreed time, that was when I heard the gunshot. It was at midnight on 17th June, 10 years ago. That was the time scheduled for the execution.
Question for the chat, what N64 games do you want to see on the online service? And you know what, Genesis games while we're at it. Hey, wait a minute, if they get Genesis games out, Nintendo, put Sega CD games! They're so expensive! I want frickin' Snatcher on the Genesis. I want it out on the Nintendo Online service, could you imagine? Maybe it won't cost $500 frickin' dollars. Oh, hold on, let me look how much it costs right now. Snatcher, Sega, CD, price, charting.
But the professor's execution never actually took place, did it?
It's currently going for
$1,390?
It was $500 last year.
Why is it $1,500?
What?
What do you mean?
What do you mean?
Or rather, the execution itself must have been used to effect the plan of escape. I hardly dare to imagine what a chilling plan it was.
Harvest Moon 64, good choice, Iron Gala. Rayman 64, also good choice. There's a million versions of Rayman 2. I'm surprised Ubisoft hasn't gotten on that. Barclay was renowned for being the highest security prison in the country. Everything that went in or out of the place was searched multiple times. But there was one notable exception. Or rather, one notable loophole. Something that was never questioned. Blast Core? I would like to see more rare stuff. There you go. Wait, was Blast Core rare? I don't know anymore. I have a feeling I know what the loophole was now. The coffins into which the bodies of the executed convicts were placed, correct? You know, because of all the body snatching. Yes. Not body snatching, I'm thinking of Snatcher now. Because of all the grave digging. Once the coroner had confirmed the death of a condemned convict, the body was taken in its coffin for immediate burial in Lowgate Cemetery just behind the prison. The chief warder first had to sign the necessary papers. And after that, no member of staff was permitted to touch the coffin containing the body again. It was made by Rare, okay. When executions took place, only the executioner and the coroner were permitted inside the chamber. Quest 64? I heard that game wasn't that good, but also it's not like people who only had an X64 had many choices as far as RPGs. So I almost played it when I was a kid, but I was more into Super Nintendo RPGs, thankfully. If only I had them physically. I would wait in the adjacent room for word that the condemned convict was dead. On that occasion, once I had that confirmation, I went into the mortuary to find a lone coffin as usual. The procedure was that I would sign the paperwork having checked the coffin, then nail it shut. But for some reason that day, the coffin was already nailed shut. Oh, that's a red sign. That's a red flag. A red sign. No! I didn't think anything of it at the time. I assumed that my deputy must have checked the coffin and nailed it shut before I arrived. Who's your deputy? You're my favorite deputy. So you mean the coffin contained a living man? Yes, I can only imagine that Asogi, having escaped his execution somehow, was alive inside the coffin. Wow! Good thing there was already a plan to get him out of there. The coffin was taken out through the main gates and deposited in Lowgate Cemetery. Presumably there would have been enough air inside to breathe for long. So in the early hours following the burial, somebody dug up the coffin again to set Genshin free. But in the end, he was fatally shot in the graveyard anyway. By who, I wonder? What on earth really happened in Lowgate Cemetery that night, I wonder? Time to go talk to Mr. Robot Man, I guess. I'm afraid I don't really know. All I can say is, with certainty, are two things. Asogi couldn't possibly have escaped that way without help from somebody working in the prison. Dr. Courtney Saif, maybe? And that somebody was not me. Haru's wishes: Rayman 64, Mega Man 64, Buck Bumble, Mischief Makers, Diddy Kong Racing, Spider-Man Conquers Bad Fur Day. And the hard part is, like, so far it seems not impossible, but difficult to get third-party games on the online virtual console thing. So, I don't know. I would love Mega Man 64 because Mega Man Legends slaps, but to have Mega Man Legends without Mega Man Legends 2 is just so weird. Obviously, you knew the man then. The professor, I mean. Genshin Asogi. Yes, I remember him well, in fact. Would you mind telling us what you know? Yeah, good point. Don't expect a lot of Rare titles when, like, Rare Replay has a lot of them already, and Microsoft is like, no, those are our games now. Haha. Why have them from Nintendo for free when you can pay us for them? Well, having been condemned to death as he was, any contact I had with the man was short, obviously. After that trial, which was carried out behind closed doors, attended by only elite members of the judiciary, they called out for his execution to be carried out at the earliest possible opportunity. The outcome of the trial was set from the beginning, wasn't it?
It was a time of delicate diplomacy when Britain and Japan were in the process of signing an important treaty. That meant that this potentially destabilizing case had to be dealt with swiftly and discreetly. The man had less than a week in total. As I was the chief warder, I oversaw his short stay in the cells until his final hour. I remember being struck deeply by his noble character and incredible resilience.
What do you mean exactly?
He was a killer of many men, but he was always quiet and polite. He was a gentleman and a man of intellect. In fact, I couldn't bring myself to believe what he'd done, so I asked him one day.
Nice angle.
Those 5 members of the aristocracy whose lives were taken, were you really responsible?
I'm guilty of the unforgivable crime of ending another human's life. Yes.
The following day, the closed trial took place, and the verdict was no surprise.
Guilty.
That night, when he was brought back to his cell, I saw something unusual.
Something unusual? What?
The last will and testament of Genshin Asogi.
What was his will?
As I said, it was on the night following his trial after he'd been found guilty. I was doing the rounds of the cells, and when I looked into Asogi's, I noticed that he seemed to have a sheet of paper in his hand.
Ah! His last will and testament then, presumably. One might say rare games are rare. Ha ha!
As soon as he noticed me, he hurriedly shoved it behind his back. But why did you find that so unusual? Isn't it normal for a man to pen a will when he knows his death is nigh?
Well, I guess. More like he must have been working on it since even before his trial. So it must have been like a sure thing that he would die, right? So maybe the weird part is that he like was all but certain that his sentence was to be carried out.
Yes, that's true, but there were special conditions to Asogi's incarceration, you see.
What sort of conditions?
Well, even though he was held in a cell designed for condemned inmates, he was allowed to keep his personal effects with him, with one exception.
Really? He was allowed his things? That is unusual, certainly.
Of course, he'd been convicted of killing 5 members of the aristocracy. But at the same time, he was a guest in our country from the Empire of Japan. The powers that be were determined that his final day shouldn't be needlessly uncomfortable.
He's turning Irish very slowly.
And what was the exception he mentioned to the personal effects he was allowed? That's the point. He wasn't permitted to have writing materials.
So where did the will come from? No, that means the will was already written.
Specifically, no pens or paper. So, he was prevented from leaving any written record of what had happened to him. Yes, that was the long and the short of it. I've no idea where he obtained that paper. Any writing materials would have been confiscated from him upon his incarceration.
No writing materials, but a sword is fine. You know, that's fine. Did Genshin Asogi have a sword? I know Kazuma got it from, like, his family bloodline, but hey, I guess it would have been Genshin's. So, did somebody take it from England to Japan?
As I said, he hid the paper behind his back and then he pleaded with me. What did you just hide behind your back?
Please, please turn a blind eye. This is my lifeline.
But you know it's against the rules.
You're the only person who's seen. If you just agree to keep quiet.
All right then. But what's on that paper?
A last will and testament.
This will is the only weapon I have left now.
Huh. Well, thank you, Captain No Help. How can a will be a weapon? He has to have... Did he entrust the sword to Kazuma in his will? Is that the only reason he was sure to have it given to him? Is there something about the sword? Asogi, we need to see that right now. So I decided to pretend I'd seen nothing, and I let him keep his will. But then later, it just seemed to vanish without trace. What? What do you mean it vanished? Sherlock Holmes and the case of the great vanishing will.
It would seem that this isn't the end of the story for this mysterious will.
Oh, you thought we were done? No. I will say, if it ends up getting to 4 p.m., I apologize greatly. But started stream a little late today because of the whole Nintendo Direct stuff. I don't want to tire myself out. I'm going on vacation soon, but again, I apologize for how slowly I'm getting through Great Ace Attorney at this point, but I've learned the number one thing is do not overdo it. So we'll see how far I get today. I might not finish this case.
I was the only person who saw Asogi's will, but
somehow it disappeared. The investigation is actually pretty long. I do want to ask, have I gone about halfway yet? Because if possible, I want the next stream of this to wrap it up nicely.
It was after Asogi's execution, which was actually an elaborate jailbreak. The warders gathered up Asogi's possessions that were in his cell. They were all to be sent back to his family home in Japan, you see.
Oh!
To poor Kazuma-sama.
And you're saying that it wasn't anywhere to be found among his personal effects? The will, I mean.
That's right, though I didn't search through them myself. But Governor Kaden was livid. He was screaming. It kinda had disappeared completely.
I'm at the halfway point, more or less. So, okay. Do you think it would make sense to actually call it after talking with basically Daily here? Maybe I'll go look at someplace besides Asogi's office, but maybe not anywhere plot relevant.
That doesn't quite make sense though, does it?
In what way? If it had his will, wouldn't it make sense to bring it back to Japan?
Well, we'd understood that only Mr. Vigil was aware of the will's existence. In which case, how did the prison governor know to look for it?
Oh, you're right. Yes, you're right.
I really don't know how he knew. But it certainly seemed as though he knew of the will's existence from the outset. Only he didn't refer to it as a will. What he said was the Asogi papers.
No, he was talking about the Sagi papers. They were dunked in water, you see. They had a secret message written in invisible ink. The Asogi papers?
I really can't tell you anything of the subsequent events. Because, well, of what happened.
Your dismissal and the way you blocked it all from your memory. Wait, hold up. What am I waiting for?
I'd forgotten all this until today. I don't suppose it's relevant to the case, though.
Well, anyway, thank you very much for sharing it with us, Mr. Vigil. We're very grateful.
I'm afraid there's really little more I can tell you. My wife Evie will be here shortly, so I do hope I don't appear rude, but...
No, not at all. Thank you again.
But what will become of you now? Well, impersonating a police officer is a criminal offense, of course. I imagine that once I'm fully recovered, I shall be arrested.
As long as you're okay. I can't imagine this has been easy on you, Mr. Vigil. I'm very sorry for having you dig up these suppressed memories, but if it leads us to the truth, I don't see any other possibility. I'm so sorry.
Don't be, please. This was all my own doing. I always knew that this day would come.
Subconsciously or otherwise. Well, I wish you well. Goodbye, Mr. Vigil. Bye-bye. Mange just disappeared. Ah! Before you go, there's just one thing. Man's making gestures that's like Soseki Natsume. Yes, what is it? Also, good morning, everybody. The Asogi papers! Hey. I'd be very grateful if you'd make no mention of the things I told you about them. Presumably for some good reason. Yeah, no. That'll be our ace in the hole. We'll bring it up during court, probably. It's my understanding that their very existence is a closely guarded secret. Good thing there's no, like, surveillance cameras or recording devices here. If it became known that I remembered, well, it could be rather troublesome, I think. I understand. Some sort of will that Genshin Asogi penned just before his death, which the man himself claimed was his last weapon. I wonder, perhaps it had something to do with his plan to escape. There's anyone who might know more about a document that Kazuma's father left behind?
It would be Mr. Vigil's governor.
We gotta go back to Mr. Caden too? Oh yeah, we definitely have too much to talk about to finish in one night. I guess if anybody has any advice on when's the best time to leave it off, so that I'd say for like, ideally I end stream before 4 hours are up, then feel free to let me know. Feel free, y'all.
Then we know precisely where we must go. Back to Barclay Prison.
You say I have time to talk to Caden? Alright. I would like to oh, look. Look at freaking. Oh. Look at Daly here on the bed. Look, we can finally see his feet. Well, at least he seems to be on the mend.
You know, his disguise as Mr. Gossip was really quite masterful, wasn't it?
Yeah. Clever bit of disguising those lips. I can't remember anything about it except for the floppy lip.
I imagine not even his wife would have recognized him.
Yeah, she tried to kiss him and he'd be like, "Aye, aren't you a married lady?" Perhaps, but did he really have to take it quite so far? I'm not gonna lie, it wasn't a bad disguise. Like, I totally didn't pen him for, like, the dude that the Redheaded League talked to. It's really hilarious how, like, you can go back to my VOD of the last trial and be like, oh, you know, by process of elimination, there's nobody that the Redheaded League could have talked to but Mr. Daily Vigil. I don't know how, but it must be right. Judge is like, nah, sorry, mate. It's wrong. And then later it turned out to retroactively be right. Judge, give me my penalty back. It was Daily Vigil. My hunch was correct. Wrong math, right answer. At this point, I need to make an emote, Manoka math. Just me, like, doing a big think and coming to a conclusion that was correct off of complete nonsense. This notice caught my eye before, actually.
I suppose it's some sort of slogan for the ward. A cheerful welcome message, perhaps.
Let's see. Pay with good cheer. Leave with good cheer. Look at that. You're spot on, Mrs. Sato. It's full of cheer.
I wonder how many discharge patients pay their medical bills with good cheer, though.
Once I had to have a very painful injection when I fell ill with a cold. I felt awful already, so why did I have to suffer the sting of the injection as well as the bill? I yelled at the doctor. Remember, in the first case of the first game, Naruhodo says something to the effect of like, oh man, I hate doctors so much, I had to get an injection last time, that's why I just don't go to the doctor anymore. Naruhodo!
Oh dear, what terrible treatment.
I wonder if that was the same event. He was 5 years old back then. Oh. Alright, well, let's go have a chat with Mr. Scotsman. I'll tell you what, I've definitely been listening to Scottish accents. As far as replicating them, hold on, let me just go to my YouTube channel. Not my YouTube channel. Let me go to my YouTube front page, and if there is anything from Limmy's show, well, there you go. Speak of the devil. Let me just try to get into the cadence.
Drinks after work.
The cadence.
Drinks after work.
Definitely.
Drinks after work? Definitely. Alright, drinks after work. Now we need something from Limmy himself.
Is that a contract? You just click on it. What are you doing?
Right.
It's a contract. It's like a contract.
It's pages, it.
Page is it? No. Let's find another sketch. I've just been watching so much Limmy show. It's freaking hilarious. Even if I understand only like half of it. Okay. Let's find the one about water. Let's just find the one about water.
Psst. Come here.
Yeah. Come here.
Balls of water. Right, water. 55 pence. 79 pence.
I wish a bottle of water was only 79 pence. Actually, how much? That's actually pretty expensive sounding. Boys, bottles of water. Now I need to apply that to a big giant man.
Look at this. Bottles of water.
79 pence. Aye?
All right, I'm in the mood. I got it. Let's head back. All right, Barry, I'm ready for you. 2nd November, Barclay Prison, Governor's Office. Look at this man. Look at his vest.
Ugh! Back again, are you?
Yes. Hello.
I've heard all about your investigations. I read the report just now. You found him, eh? Vigil?
Yes, luckily.
Well, anywho, the laddie doesn't work here no more, so your case is not to do with Buckley. I wouldn't like you to get the wrong idea about that.
For a second, I thought he was about to flex. Like frickin' do a frickin' Armstrong Full Metal Alchemist, like, family bloodline flex. Of course, yes, Mr. Vigil stopped working here 10 years ago now, so...
Yes, we've seen his dismissal notice, haven't we? He was given the job.
Aye, Kimmer, you can very well. So how about a wee handcuffed biscuit?
I would love it. Probably tastes like it has, like, frosting on it.
Oh, they really are like little handcuffs. And as hard as irons, too.
So, what's brought you down here today?
Well, there's something else we'd like to ask you about, actually. About.
Is that so? That's so.
You believe that might have been a document that disappeared from Genshin Asogi? So we weren't supposed to talk about that. We're immediately disobeying Mr. Frickin' Daily Vigil. I think it's been called the Asogi Papers or something. Ah, yeah. What did he just tell us? Ah, cat's got your tongue, eh?
Did I not say? Gregson's death is not to do with things that might have happened at Barclay. Leave the past in the past, laddie. Let's not further about with irrelevant details.
His expressions changed completely. We're certainly onto something here. While I have the time, let's go look at stuff I didn't examine while I was here last time. An axe, a hunting rifle, and 4 pairs of handcuffs. That's a daunting collection.
Ah, there's a story behind every one of those.
You mean the rifle was a famous killer's murder weapon, and the axe was wielded by an infamous executioner? And the handcuffs were once used to immobilize a fierce 4-legged beast when it was arrested? Ryunosuke, where does your imagination go? Those sound like Yakuza sub-stories. I think you're in the realms of fantasy now, Mr. Naruhodo. Sounds like Dragon Quest.
Not those kind of stories, Jimmy.
My name's not Jimmy.
It is now.
Here's a joke for y'all. A Scotsman walks into a bakery. He points at a pastry behind the head baker and asks, "Is that a cake or a meringue?" And the baker just says yes. I'll let you try to understand that one.
That axe was the one I used to chop down the cherry tree at my house. Mrs. Caden wasn't best pleased.
What, you just did it for fun?
And the coats on the left are the ones I caught my first burglar with back when I was a bobby.
That's not too bad.
Stories were a little different to those you imagined, I think, weren't they?
Yes, to my relief. And in some small way, my disappointment. The dude does look like he has, like, years and years of out there stuff attached to him, especially in Ace Attorney's universe. You never know. This bird needs a bigger cage. Dragon Quest, you mean like that RRQ3? By the way, Greenling, I feel like you have a delay. It might be worth refreshing.
I suppose these are all former governors of Park Lake Prison, are they?
The art book talks about the cut backstory. Ooh! Does anybody know if they still sell the art book? I would like a copy of it. Not that I understand it, because it's probably only in Japanese. I still like it, though.
Either that or the former inmates who the governor has sent to the gallows.
Why would you frame those on your wall?
Oh dear, they all have such severe expressions, I really couldn't deny either possibility.
Oh, the in-game art gallery. Oh, okay. Not bad, not bad. Rosan got an art book? Oh, tell me where you bought it. I would love one.
Especially the one on the extreme right. His expression goes beyond severe into a whole new territory.
Dude, he looks like a living mustache. I haven't looked at the in-game art stuff in fear of spoilers. I would imagine that, like, the music and art stuff would have spoiled Asogi's return for sure. So I'm very glad I held off on looking at those.
That one's me.
Oops! I see you shaved.
I'm terribly sorry, sir.
Is it a prerequisite of the job, perhaps? Having a severe expression, I mean.
Of course it's not, although it's taken into consideration.
A lot. Clearly. There's detail in each character's design and fun stuff. Oh, I am so excited. I'll definitely take a look. Like, the last time we streamed this, I'll try to make it so that, like, we spend time, or section it off that I finished the last chapter, like, early, hopefully. And not spend, I don't know, over 7 hours like I did when I finished the first game.
That's a very large cabinet full of papers, isn't it? It's labeled Inmate Register, look. And all the files are in alphabetical order.
That's 50 years worth of records of Barclay's inmates. Whether or not they left alive after serving the term. All the details about the crimes they committed are recorded in there. Like an epitaph, you might say.
A record of crimes and punishments. How dispiriting.
And yet, this man seems to be enjoying tea and biscuits as he talks about it. I would love those biscuits. I'm hungry. You know what? I have some cookies. I'm gonna go eat some after stream for sure. Now, should I go for the white chocolate macadamia or the chocolate chunk? Ooh, hoo, hoo, hoo. Despite the fact I already ate like 2 cupcakes from Sprint today. Oops. Okay. I just didn't want to miss out on anything because I wasn't able to investigate this room last time. Barry kicked me out. Krista 1, catch another stream. Yeah, welcome on in. Hope you're doing well. We're doing Scottish accents today. And this time I have references.
Couple of quid. I mean, it's no much, but all adds up, doesn't it?
Oh, that's up, didn't it?
Right, now come here.
Look at me here. Hey, look at me here. Hey, leukemia? Hey, look at me here. Have you seen my badge? Oh, you got a link for the art books? Thank you, Prasan. Let me see. $100. You know, honestly, to import something over here, the fees are not cheap anymore. And, like, I factor that to be about $20 to $30, so... I don't know, like $70, $60 art book? Not bad. Honestly. Like, honestly, for real. Not bad. Wow. Thanks for the link. I'll shop around, but I'll definitely consider it. I do have some awesome local art book stores with Japanese books. I'll go check those as well. in Little Tokyo in LA, there's a Kinokuniya, which is just a Japanese bookstore that has got great stuff. I saw they had like the Art of Dragon Quest, and I looked at it several times before ending up buying it on Amazon because it was on sale. It's a good store. I love that place. Even if I don't really ever buy stuff, I just love browsing what they got. Gotta love the Scottish. You right? You right?
Just like a real kind of water out there. It tastes.
What's that there then?
It's actually the sign of a Japanese defense lawyer.
Well, if you have to wear something like that to prove who you are, perhaps I should wear these handcuffs, eh?
That doesn't seem to be necessary.
I think maybe they're more of a sign of the people you catch than you yourself.
Aye, that's true. You got me there, hen.
I already read this probably. But you know, it doesn't hurt. It's tradition at this point. Let's also point a gun at this man. What could go wrong? I should be like playing with the evidence more. I love doing that in Ace Attorney. Just like, oh, here, I have a gun in my inventory. Would you like to see it?
Aye, get that away from me. What are you doing? Pointing guns all willy-nilly. I should have you arrested.
Hey, Mr. Caden, you want to wear this wig? You'd look amazing with it. I guess if anybody knows any funny dialogue I should present, let me know whenever it comes up, because I might just miss it. But, you know, let's actually talk to him.
That murderer's botched execution. No miserable escape. They were Barclay's darkest hour, aye. A shocking embarrassment.
Because the convict had a collaborator on the prison staff, you mean?
Aye, for shame. Don't know who confirmed the death of the man after his execution. Courtney Scythe.
How did I know?
And my chief warder at the time, Vigil, who was in charge of the whole affair.
But Mr. Vigil says he didn't know anything about it.
The rascal wouldn't say otherwise, eh? More handcuffs?
Oh, how could I say no? You can never have too much iron in your diet.
I don't think they're actually made of iron.
When Mr. Vigil was handed his dismissal notice as a result of what had happened, he was so despairing he jumped out of your office window, didn't he?
Ugh.
I didn't like to say, but that's just Vigil trying to get out of it. Do you not think he would have not jumped from the shock of his crimes being exposed, eh? I do. I do.
You wouldn't say otherwise, though, would you?
Would ya? If you not had your chance to change your fate, would ya?
Course I cannot shun all responsibility myself. I should not let him deceive me. Actually, there's barely anybody that kens what went on at the time now. With Gregson having been murdered and Dr. Scythe forbidden from having any...
It's late, forgive me.
And Dr. Scythe forbidden from having any visitors.
No visitors? Someone's obviously doesn't want to giving anything away.
Well, we're not going home empty-handed.
And I wouldn't have dreamed of sending you packing with naught, Kimmy. Here, take a handcuff or two.
Oh, well, it would be rude to say no. Wouldn't want to become anemic.
Oh, no! Iris, don't let him distract you with iron. It's funny, I actually had a British college professor, who was a chemistry professor, actually, but while he said iron as iron, he did not say aluminum as aluminium. Probably because of years and years of people asking him, "Hey, why do you say aluminium? Isn't it aluminum?" He would just straight up say aluminum. I don't know why that's so fascinating to me, but maybe he's doing it on purpose. I never actually asked. He was a very intimidating man. Very intimidating. Like, I don't know. I don't talk about the college I went to, but it's not exactly a secret. There are VODs of me saying it. But I'm just gonna say there are YouTube videos of him telling off like seedy people on campus and like telling them to get out. And he's just a boss in all of those videos. You know what? I'm probably gonna look for one of those and seeing them again, because it has been a while since I've heard that man's voice. Get off campus!
I suppose if there's anybody who might still ken about what happened back then, it'd be that lass from the forensic division, Maria Gori.
Maria Gori, that's the person who did the autopsy report this time. See? It all's coming together. Maria Gori? Category.
Aye,
That's her name? Wait, she works? How old is she?
aye, Si's daughter. She didn't have no more, just the one.
Gas mask girl? Well, why does she have a different last name? I didn't understand. Did he called aluminium? He said aluminum even though he was British, when supposedly they say aluminium, as far as I know. If anybody is an expert on British accents, maybe there's one that says aluminum. I don't know. My knowledge of British accents comes from this game.
But the wee bairns followed in their man's footsteps. You didn't ever see her without a scalpel in her hand.
Ah. I'm gonna flash back. Look at she.
Mama, what is this?
Yeah, aluminum is the American pronunciation, yes. Where did she spring from? Did she just call the doctor Mama?
Mama. Mamma mia.
Are you my mummy? Dr. Sight's daughter, Maria Gori. We could do with talking to her. Ding. Gori. Nice. So she's Dr. Sight's daughter, but her surname is Gori? Wait, is she married?
Aye, there's some family history, I'm sure, but I didn't ken the ins and outs of it. She grew up watching her man working with the bodies of folk who died in strange circumstances, and decided to do the same with her own life. I can't understand it myself.
Perhaps he was driven by a deep respect for her mother.
Perhaps. Anyhow, she was in charge of Greggson's autopsy, I believe.
Right, and the coroner responsible for this incomplete report.
Someone once told me that the wee lassie always loved her mam's stories about cutting up bodies.
Wow, what a nice family history, eh?
There was even a rumour that she used to listen to the funeral march as her lullaby.
Well then perhaps her mother might have told her about the autopsy from the case 10 years ago.
Also, I'm not trying as hard to do like a big old gruff voice for Caden, because I realize he was very hard to understand when I was voicing him before, and I apologize. I should be putting a focus on like understandability with these things, because a Scottish accent is hard enough to understand as it is. If this is anything to go by.
I've got to try this. Is it alright if I let them? Is it alright if I let them?
Aye, I'd say there's a fighting chance at least. After all, there was a life-changing case for all of us.
Yeah, Courtney's maiden name is Stevens. Current surname is Scythe. Daughter's last name is Gory. So maybe that was a hand wave for just having a different name, or maybe it was a way to hide the fact they're related. But interesting. Again, don't know if the game goes on into it, but maybe the art book does. They really need to speak to Miss Gory herself about this, I think. But thank you very much. Oh, is that all we get to see of Mr. Caden?
I'm no happy about any part of this. It took years for Londoners to finally forget the whole professor business. Can you not give up on this, laddie? Stop asking pointless questions.
If I could, I would absolutely give Mr. Caden the voice of Alan Young, the person who voiced Scrooge McDuck in the original DuckTales. Also, the voice of that one Scotsman from Curse of Monkey Island. Let me see if I can find. Let me see if I can find the song. That is a freaking classic. Curse of Monkey Island, Haggis. His name was Haggis, of course, because he's Scottish. Haggis McMutton. Let me try to see if I can find a clip of him that's not like somebody's Let's Play. That looks like a Let's Play. Everything looks like a Let's Play. I just want a clip of him. Alan Young, dude. Here, a pirate I was meant to be.
We're a band of vicious pirates.
A sailing out to sea.
When you hear a gentle singing,
You'll be sure to turn and flee.
Oh, this is just ridiculous.
I miss that. I miss that smooth tone so much.
Come on, men. We've got to recover that map.
That pirate will be done for when he falls into our trap.
we're a club attuned for rovers.
We can sing in every clef.
We can even hit the high notes.
It's just too bad we're tone deaf.
A pirate I was meant to be, trim the sails and roam the sea.
Oh, I need to play Curse of Monkey Island on stream one of these days.
A pirate I was meant to be, trim the sails and roam the sea.
Ba-da-da-da-dun. I'm sorry, I don't like dredging up these painful memories for everyone. Just what I'm good at, apparently. Please, Mr. Kaden, Ryunosuke is a Naruhodo. Dredging up painful history is his lifeblood. You got that exactly right, Croissant.
Can you not say it? Can you all just stay away now? Leave me alone and dinna come back here, eh?
About the papers, though.
About them papers, though. How'd you come to ken about that, laddie? There's no many folk haven here in the prison who've heard of those papers.
Well, I can't tell him Mr. Vigil told me. I've already said too much. I'm afraid our sources must remain confidential, sir. As if it's not obvious Vigil's the only person who could have told me.
Hoof!
We've been led to believe the papers are actually a last will and testament. Is that right? The professors, or rather, Genshin Asogi's. Let me try if I can do something for Barry. If I can go into a register that's like,
Aye, that's right. You're well informed, Jimmy.
oh, is that the end of the silent treatment? But then after the convict's execution, it mysteriously vanished from his cell, didn't it?
Heavens no. You're over half-cocked there. I think you didn't quite get your facts straight.
You know, a little bit of the voice of Goro from Tulip.
It was there in the cell. Exactly where it should have been.
Oh, not what we heard elsewhere. Are you about to show them to me right now?
Let me just have a wee hook about in there. I'm sure I can find it.
Nice kiss, Yellow Pikachu. What is that? You have chickens kissing? How did you not have that emote the whole time I was playing Tulip? My goodness.
Aye, here you are. See?
The last will and testament of Genshin Asogi, written with a calligraphy brush.
Of course I cannot read a word of those Japanese squiggles. But I mind it says he leaves all his worldly possessions to his son back in his homeland.
Why did these not make it to Japan? Bakba just added them. Oh, what infortuitous timing. Yes, that's correct. That's the gist of it. Have I got some news for you, Mr. Kaden? We can read Japanese, surprisingly. So these are the Asogi papers?
Aye, of course they are. Papers written by Asogi. Nae doubt about it. There's no mystery here, laddie. That's your lot. After all the stramash of that sliced her of an execution,
I understood some of those words.
we sent the man's possessions back to his clan, Japan.
His Japan clan. Here I am with my ninja clan. Ninja clan, here we stand. Sasuke, he's so cool. Sakura, the beautiful. How many dreadful memories am I about to dredge up for the people watching the stream right now? The German intro for Naruto. I'm not playing that. That'll get DMCA'd.
We said,
back to the man in Japan.
and that was the end of it.
I'm bringing back all the memories. I'm so sorry.
I think we ought to make a record of this, Mr. Naruhodo, just in case.
The last will and testament of Genshin Oxy, Vigil claims disappeared. That's the only weapon I have left. Interesting. I wonder what they say.
One thing before you go on your way, Mr. Naruhodo.
Yes?
Those papers are not to do with Greggson's death.
That's what you say, but I'm putting them in my inventory anyway.
I'd prefer it if you didn't make no mention of them outside this office. Or rather, I wouldn't just prefer it. Consider it an order from the highest levels of our government.
I understand. Well, that's cool. Let's take a look at this. I, Genshin Asogi, hereby request upon my death any and all material possessions and wealth belonging to me invaluably delivered to my son Kazuma Asogi in the Empire of Japan. It is with deep sadness that I accept my fate in this foreign land in the knowledge that I will never see my home and my family again, I forget nothing about my chosen path. Notice how just everything is going to Kazuma. Like, not even, oh, this goes to my wife, this goes to my friend. Like, no, just everything goes to Kazuma. I bet that's because it was very important that, like, the sword, maybe? Karuma goes to Kazuma? But they didn't want to make it seem so oddly specific, like Genshin didn't. So he just did a blanket, like, everything goes to Kazuma, and then maybe later, 10 years later, when he's grown up and going into law school, that he figures it out. That the reason I gave it to him. Maybe. You know, pulling a Howard Stark limited by technology of my time kind of deal. Possibly, maybe, sorta. I should really be saving more often. I haven't saved all stream once again. But. I think that's enough for tonight. Sorry for y'all if you wanted more stream tonight, but it's been long enough for me. I've been playing Ace Attorney for 3 hours now, but it's a 4-hour stream. I don't want to overdo it. I've got stuff to take care of for this and next week. I'm going on a little vacation, so apologies to everyone who wants more Great Ace Attorney or just more games in general, but I am done for the week. And I hope you all enjoyed. So let's go ahead and bring it to the ending, shall we? Wait a minute. I have a different song for you guys. Not that one. I have this song.
My Ninja Clan, here we stand.
Alright. Alright, let's forget that ever happened. Believe! This is why you don't listen to my stream so late at night. I lose all my brain cells and have to coast on instinct alone. Ninja Clan, this was the worst. Sorry. Let's see if there's any art. If you ever have any art for the stream, post it to my Discord or tweet it at me and I'll put it up. We actually have art today. And this is about Deltarune, but don't worry, it's not really spoilers. But from William Shakespeare. If you ever have art for the stream inspired by the games I play, or the chickeny nature of the stream, I meant to say. We have William Shakespeare himself. Descending upon one of the wires from Deltarune Chapter 2, impressing Rules Card himself.
I say it.
They seem to be two halves of a whole cell, don't they? Don't they? They would get along just fine. Thank you, William Shakespeare, for drawing William Shakespeare. This is amazing. And yeah, with that note, hope you all enjoyed Great Ace Attorney today. I was only able to play it once this week again, but when we return,
thank you.
It'll be October, for one. I'm gonna say preemptively, my schedules for October will be, in addition to spooky games, I will still continue Great Ace Attorney. I won't like drop it just because. I'm just very glad that we got a lot of other games out of the way already. And yeah, expect more of this. Hopefully we'll finish Great Ace Attorney sometime before the end of October. But I will keep trying to play it twice a week. And yeah, everybody have a good time. Behave while I'm gone. And I can't wait. I still want vengeance for Tobias. I still do. Definitely, definitely. He deserves. He deserves, not Curari. He's already dead. Not Strychnine either. He deserves retribution. So you're welcome, everybody, for the stream. I thank you all for being here. Thanks for the discussions about Nintendo Directs and Great Ace Attorney, everything. Thanks for dealing with me. And yeah, if you're going to sleep. Oh, yeah, if you haven't already, follow me on Twitch to catch me live next time I play this, any other game, YouTube channel, past VODs, Discord for hanging out, Twitter for memes, I guess. And if you're going to sleep, have a good night. Have a good rest of September, y'all. And I'll see you around, huh? Bye-bye!